All right, in this video, we're going to be discussing the script, how it should be delivered, and how to fill out the web form. Now, keep in mind, our job is not to sell solar. Our job is to sell and maintain credibility throughout the sales process. Let me repeat that. Our job is not to sell solar. Our job is to sell and maintain credibility. Once we have established our credibility, the product, in this case, solar, will sell itself. It starts with the appointment setting call. Today, what I want to do is drill down on the script and how to present it correctly. Now, when agents initially look at the script, they have certain preconceptions or biases that they rely on their past experiences. Most of the agents have no telemarketing experience with solar and rely on their past experience as door knockers to get them through the day. They feel that the script is too long, or it's unnecessary, and their first inclination is to do what feels natural or comfortable and immediately want to start to freestyle their approach, thinking that their sales experience or personality will carry them through. Now, telemarketing is a completely different animal. It's the most unnatural thing in the world to do and do correctly. And the reason is because it goes against everything we were taught to do from childhood. With door knocking, you're face to face with somebody and it's more conversational approach. And with telemarketing, they can't see your face or the expression on your face. All they have to go on is the sound of your voice and what you're saying and how you're saying it. Now, with telemarketing, there's two types of telemarketing. There's customer service and sales, and they're completely different and are polar opposite of each other. Now, with customer service, you care about what the customer wants, you care about what they need, think, and feel. And if you got 2 out of the 4, you did your job correctly. Now, with sales, telemarketing, none of those things matter. You don't care about what the customer needs, you don't care about what they want, what they think, and certainly how they feel. The only thing you want is to get the sale. It's binary. Either you got the sale and you were successful, or you didn't get the sale and you failed. There's no middle ground. There is no partial pregnancy. Either you're pregnant or you're not. Either you got the sale or you didn't. There's nothing in between. Now, with telemarketing, someone's attention span is only 15 seconds long. So the goal is to fight for 15 seconds at a time and keep them engaged, saying something intelligent and engaging, and fight for the next 15-second segment, and so on. The goal is not to finish the script. The goal is to fight for 15 seconds of their attention at a time. And if you follow the script and deliver it correctly, it's going to happen naturally. If you freestyle it, you're going to come off as being reactive rather than proactive, because you're playing defense rather than offense. The script provides you a game plan and gives you the advantage. Think of it this way. If you were back in school and you were taking an open book test and your classmates didn't have the open book test, who has the advantage? Who's going to get the higher score? the guy with the open book test, right? This is the same thing. You know what's coming next by following the script. The customer is only hearing this for the first time. So you should have the edge. You have the advantage. Now, as I said, some agents try to freestyle it and sell them solar on the first call. And that's really the wrong approach. On the opening call, you're trying to achieve 5 goals. Number one, you're trying to set the tone and control the conversation. Not only for this call, but also to set their expectations on the upcoming appointment. Number two, you're trying to sell them on you, creating credibility, showing them that you're the professional and that you're the expert in your field of solar. Number three, you're not trying to sell them solar, you're simply selling them the idea of solar. And you want to get all the information to provide them a full and accurate proposal. And to do that, you need all of the information to be able to create that accurate proposal. You're selling them, you're selling them on the idea of allowing you to have the opportunity to create an appointment and then wanting to follow through and meet you on that appointment. The goal is not just to create the appointment. The goal is to set the appointment that sits and gives you the best chance to sell them solar. Bottom line, if you create half-ass appointments with incomplete information, you're going to get half-ass results. And you're not going to be happy. All right. So think of the script and the rebuttals as tools of your trade. If you were a carpenter, you're going to need to know how to use a level, and you're going to know how to use which saw to use and how to use it, right? If you were a butcher, you need to know what knife to use and when. This is the same thing. The script and the rebuttals are your tools of the trade. All right. Now, what I want to do is to go through the script and explain how it should be presented. All right. And then what I'm going to do is diagram it and explain and break it down piece by piece. Now, does anybody have any questions before I do that? Anybody? All right, so at the top of the script, you'll see that's color coordinated. In blue, we want you to speed through it. All right, I don't want the customer to concentrate on those words. They're necessary for legal reasons. All right, so we don't want them fixated on these words. In yellow, they're not part of the script. They're just simply my instructions to you. All right, think of them as traffic signs. Purple, they're not part of the script. They're just built-in rebuttals. They're placed in the script because most of the time that's where they're going to come up. All right. And the green are tie downs. They're trial closes. I also notated out here to print a copy of the script and have it in your hand and follow it with your fingertips. If you're reading it from a computer screen, one of two things is going to happen. Someone is going to interrupt you with a question, comment, or a concern, in which case you're going to respond to their question, comment, or concern. And then you're going to lose your place. And if you lose your place, either you're going to have awkward silence while you find your place, or subconsciously you're going to speak and say, hang on a second, let me, and then you're just going to lose your credibility in either case, right? So have the script in your hand, follow it with your fingertips. That way you always know where you're at. Go back to answer their question, comment, or concern, and go right back to where you left off without missing a beat, staying in control. All right. Now, how should this come off? Hi, my name is David. I'm with Energy Savings. I know you recently inquired and made an appointment regarding solar energy. I'm sure you recall that. I'm following up to find out what happened on the appointment and if you got solar installed. The answer, okay, we'd like to offer you an opportunity to receive another quote. There's no cost, no obligation. We'll show you exactly how much you can save, or even earn by going solar. So my job is to be an advocate for you and offer you the best deal possible. That sounds fair, right? Let's face it, each year electric bills increase by an average of 4.5% or more, depending on your location. I know you'd rather be earning that instead of spending it, right? Also, your electric bill varies month to month, which can sometimes make it hard to manage a budget. What if we can show you a different approach where you're going to be able to save money and your payment will remain the same each month? I know you'd be interested in finding out more, right? Great. Now, this call may be recorded for training compliance purposes. So the first step is to see if you qualify by asking you some very simple questions. Do you own the property or do you rent it? You own it. Okay. What type of home do you have? Is it a single family residence, townhouse, condo, mobile home, manufactured home? What kind of home do you have? Single family. Perfect. What would you say your average monthly electric bill is if you took a 12-month average, knowing in the summertime it may be higher than in the winter? About $185. Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's exactly why we're calling. We want to be able to help you out with that. Now, who's your electric company? Who do you pay your electric bill to? Florida Power and Light? All right. No, it says stand up, get out of your chair. Now you found your interested cooperative person. So make your words count, slow it down. As I said, this is a win-win opportunity for you. You're going to have lower electric bills that are a fixed payment that do not go up or down each month. The US government wants you to go solar for two reasons: to help save the environment, and number two, to help spur the economy. In fact, they want it so badly that they're willing to pay up to 30% of the cost by issuing tax incentives. Now that 30% means it's not going to cost you anything up front, and it won't cost you anything out of your pocket for the installation either. In addition, some of the states and local governments are also issuing additional tax benefits and rebates to help pay for the system and create additional savings. Oh, and the best part, once the panels are paid off, you're going to have free electricity forever. How does that sound? Awesome. Now, I just have a few more qualifying questions. Are there any large trees that you're aware of that shade your roof? No? Okay. What type of roof do you have? Is it a composite shingle, wood, clay, tile, or metal? Composite. Okay. Is your roof pitched or is it relatively flat? Pitched. Okay. Now, the government incentives that I mentioned earlier are based on your combined household taxable income. We also want to figure out what additional options are available to you and make sure you qualify and not waste your time and continue. Fair enough? Great. Ballpark figure, what's your combined household taxable income? About 35,000. All right. Now, do you have any investments, real estate holdings, anything like that? No? All right. Are you married? You are. Okay. Does your wife work? She does. All right. How much does she make? About 30,000. All right. So combined, you're about 65,000. Is that about right? All right. Now I have to ask you whether or not you had any credit issues, had any bankruptcies, foreclosures, late payments, anything like that in the last couple of years? No? Okay. You seem to be the perfect candidate for this program to take advantage of all the state and federal incentives to go solar. Just so you know what to expect, I'm going to be looking at a satellite image of your home, discuss your roof, its condition, and I'm also going to need to have a recent copy of an electric bill. I'm also going to explain all the options available to you. That way you're going to have all the information to make an intelligent choice as to whether solar is right for you and your family or not. Fair enough? Great. When would be the best time to schedule the appointment with you? Would tomorrow or Monday work best for you? Tomorrow? Great. Morning or afternoon? Morning, 9 a.m. or 11? 11? Okay. Now, is your wife going to be able to attend as well? She is. Okay, so let's check her contact information. What's your first and last name, and can you spell that phonetically for me? A as in Alpha, B as in Bravo, C as in Charlie. All right, John Smith, J as in John, O as in Oscar, H as in Harry, N as in Nancy, Smith, S as in Sam, M as in Mary, I as in India, T as in Tom, H as in Harry. Is that right? Okay, and your wife, what's her name? Joan, J as in John, O as in Oscar, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy. Is that correct? Great. And what's the address of the home? 123 Main Street. Okay. Now we'd like to call you back and remind you of the appointment, just so we don't waste your time or mine. What is the secondary phone number, please? I'd like to send you an invitation to a Zoom meeting to review your savings with you. What's your email? All right. If possible, please send us a copy of your electric bill. It'll be helpful in providing you with more accurate information. If not, I could provide you a thumbnail sketch on the presentation to give you an idea, and then we'll have to redo it once we receive the electric bill. Is that fair? Great. Look forward to speaking to you on Monday at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much and have a nice day. All right, so what did we do? Well, yes, it seems long, but it was designed that way on purpose for a number of reasons. Number one, we're trying to stack the odds in our favor. Now, the longer you have someone on a call, the more time they invest, the more likelihood they're going to show up on the appointment. All right, number two, we got a full and accurate answers to our questions so we can create the proposal. All right. So notice at the very beginning, it does not say, hi, how are you? And the reason is because you're wasting valuable time by doing that. It goes against everything you were taught to do. As I said, telemarketing is an unnatural act. All right. If you ask them how they are, chances are they're going to respond by saying, I'm having a good day or I'm having a bad day. And then they're going to tell you why they're having a good day or having a bad day. They're then going to follow it up with, how are you? In which case you're going to respond, good day, bad day, and why. All right. It's a complete waste of time. The reality is they don't care how you're doing, and you certainly don't care how they're doing. The fact is, you have 4 seconds, 4 seconds to make an impression. And in that 4 seconds, they're judging you. Is this person sharp as a tack? Does this person sound like they know what they're talking about? Does this person sound energetic and confident? Does this person believe their own bullshit? Does this person sound like a professional, like they're tops in their field? As I said, I know it goes against everything you were taught, but this is what telemarketing is. Right? They did not wake up this morning and say, you know, I really hope David calls me today because I'm really thinking about going solar. I guarantee you that did not happen. So again, we're trying to stack the deck in our favor. And doing that, we don't start off with, hi, how are you? All right. Now, I know you recently inquired and made an appointment regarding solar. I'm sure you recall that. That is not a question. That is a statement. Do not wait for an answer. I know you recently inquired and made an appointment regarding solar. I'm sure you recall that. I'm following up to find out what happened on the appointment and if you got solar installed. Shut up. Do not say another word. Wait for them to answer. They're going to tell you. Again, The objective here is to remain in control and force them to answer. Awkward silence is one of the tools in your tool belt. Right? It's an unnatural act, I know. But for telemarketing purposes, please do it. All right. We get down to here. Make sure to ask the questions as they are written. You can ask the same question 10 different ways, and you're going to get 10 different answers. All right. What type of home do you live in? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you own the property or do you rent it? A very important question. Why? Because they're going to tell you whether they qualify or not. Ken experienced this the other day, where he was involved in a long ass conversation. I think it went 8 minutes, and then found out that the guy lives in a double wide and rents the land that the double wide sits in. Where if he just simply asked the question, do you own or rent the property? You would have found out the guy rented it, and the conversation would have ended 45 seconds into it rather than wasting 8 minutes. All right. That's why this question is there. All right. What type of home do you live in? Is it a single family residence, townhouse, condo, manufactured home, mobile home? Again, it's really important you ask the question the way it's written. Why? Because you may say, all right, do you live in a single family home? Single family residence? Well, yeah. Meanwhile, they live in a manufactured home or they live in a double wide, but they consider it a single family residence because that's how you ask the question. You're going to get a completely different answer. All right. Notice we don't say, what was your electric bill last month? We don't ask what your average electric bill is. We phrase it by saying, what is your average monthly electric bill if you took a 12-month average, knowing in the summertime it may be higher than in the winter? And by asking it that way, you're getting a more accurate, more complete answer. All right? Who do you pay your electric company to? Or who's your utility company? Who do you pay your electric bill to? That's important. Why? Because when we create the proposal, we need to know that. All right. Now I say, get out of your chair. Take it more seriously. If you're standing up rather than sitting down, as hokey as this sounds, when you stand up, motion creates energy, and that comes through with your voice. You sound more energetic standing up than you do slumped sitting in your chair. All right, you got this far. Now you got somebody who's interested, cooperative, and pre-qualified. So take it a little bit more seriously. Now, basically what you're doing is you're telling a story and explaining why it is important to answer your questions when they come up. See, if you explain what it is you're doing, why it is you're doing it, and why you're asking the questions that you are, and why it's important for them to answer it, 95% of the time, people will go along with you. All right. Think of it as a long joke. If you tell the punchline without the setup, the joke's not going to be funny. This is the same thing. And I'm specifically talking about two scenarios. One, when you ask them about their income, and two, when you ask them about their credit. All right, because those are personalized things. People aren't apt to want to answer that question or those questions from you, especially someone they've never met or talked to before. All right, but if you explain to them why it's important, they'll probably answer it. All right. As I said, there's a win-win opportunity for you. You're going to have lower electric bills that are a fixed payment that do not go up or down each month. The U.S. government also wants you to go solar for two reasons: to help save the environment and to help spur the economy. In fact, they want it so badly that they're paying for 30% of the cost by issuing tax incentives. Now that 30% means it's not going to cost you anything up front, and it won't cost you anything out of your pocket for the installation either. In addition, some of the state's local governments are also issuing additional tax benefits and rebates to help pay for the system and create additional savings. Now you'll notice here, we start out asking softball questions and then get more complicated and more personal. All right. So we start out, are there any large trees that you're aware of? All right. If they say yes, here's your rebuttal. All right. What type of roof do you have? Composite shingle, wood shingle, clay tile, or metal? Again, it's not the question you ask, it's how you ask the question that matters. All right. Is your roof pitched or is it relatively flat? Again, important questions, especially when it comes to the proposal. You need to know these things. All right. If it's a metal roof, you're going to have adders that are going to cost more. All right. If you don't know, it's going to come out of your commission. Right? Is it flat? Well, there's an adder for that. All right, we need to know these things. Now, this section here goes back to here. Again, joke, punchline, setup, punchline, right? The government incentives that I mentioned earlier are based off your combined household taxable income. We also want to figure out what additional options are available to you and make sure you qualify and not waste your time and continue. Fair enough? Great. Ballpark figure, what is your combined household taxable income? Now, if I asked you what your income was, sight unseen, chances are you're going to go tell me to go fly a kite or something worse, right? It's none of my business. But if you ask it this way, with this as a setup, oh, that makes sense. Okay. Again, ballpark figure. Don't need to be exact. We're asking to the nickel, not down to the penny. Combined household taxable income. That includes investments, real estate holdings, wife's income, husband's income, etc. All right. The magic number that we're looking for is 50,000. Anything less, we have to go fishing for more income, asking about investments, asking about the spouse income, right? Now I have to ask you whether or not you have any credit issues, had any bankruptcies, foreclosures, or late payments, or anything like that in the last couple of years. That's completely different than if I just simply said, what's your credit score? If I asked you what your credit score was, you're going to have 3 responses, none of them good. Either you're going to tell me to go screw myself, it's none of my business. You're going to tell me you don't know, or most likely you're going to give me an answer you think I want to hear. Even if you gave me that answer, there's a 95% chance it's going to be incorrect. Why? Because I don't know when you ran your credit. I don't know what credit reporting agency you used. Was it TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax? Or for that matter, what filters were used when you ran your credit? In other words, you could have 2 different finance companies and you can run TransUnion on both of them, and you're going to get 2 completely different credit scores, even though you're using TransUnion. Why? Because they have different filters. All right. So it's not the credit score that we want to know. We ask it, have you had any credit issues, had any bankruptcies, foreclosures, late payments, anything like that? By asking it that way, we're going to get a more detailed, more honest response. All right. The only credit score that matters is the finance company that's being used. Now, when it comes to scheduling the appointment, we don't ask an open-ended question. We don't give the customer the power or the control. We give them choice A or B. Would tomorrow or the Monday work best for you? Morning or afternoon? Whatever their answer is, 9 a.m. or 11 a.m., 1 a.m., 1 p.m. or 3 p.m., whatever works. All right. We need to know if they're married. Why? Because we want them on the appointment. The worst thing we want to do is create a one-legged appointment where it's only the husband or the wife and then have to repitch both of them a second time. All right. We also want to know if they're married. So if one of them fails credit, we have a fallback position. So knowing that they're married, hey, what's your wife's last 4 digits? And run her credit. All right. But if you don't know that they're married, number one, they're not going to be on the appointment with you. And number two, you don't have a fallback position. All right. Let's check your contact information. What's your first and last name? Can you spell that phonetically? Want to make sure you have the right spelling of their name, their address, and their email. Spell it back to them phonetically. Yes, you're taking a couple extra seconds to do it, but it's well worth it because you don't want to screw up the deal because you ruined your credibility by putting the wrong name or the wrong spelling of the name. Or you sent out the wrong email invitation because you didn't get the email right. Now, do not wait for the electric bill. They don't have it. We can work around it. The goal is to get in front of it, to get on the appointment, sell them on the idea of solar, and then go back and get the electric bill. All right. If they send you the electric bill prior to the appointment, that's bonus. Great. But chances are, if you're waiting for the electric bill, you're going to be waiting a very long time. The customer's going to go into witness protection and disappear. All right. If you think about it logically, if I was the agent and you were the customer, I'm asking you to go on a scavenger hunt and jump through hoops just because I asked you to. Just for the right for me to do a proposal for you, right? You're probably not going to do that because you don't have a real reason to do so. Again, they did not wake up this morning thinking, I hope David calls me today because I'm really thinking about solar. All right, go along to get along. The whole point of this is to get in front of somebody. Don't kill the deal before you had a chance to present the deal. All right, get in front of them, sell the idea of solar, and then give them reason to go on that scavenger hunt and give them reason to jump through the hoops that they need to do. All right, you can get by going through a thumbnail sketch of the proposal, selling the idea, and then get what you need after the fact. All right, most agents do have it backwards and why they fail, why they don't sit in front of so many people that they should. Because they're waiting on electric bills that are never going to come. All right, anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, or violent reactions?
Yeah, David, I wanted to mention on the electric bill, pretty important at some point because we need it for the thing, but we have generability now with Sunrun, and you only need 1 month of it usage. So with the generability, it's not really important until the cell goes through. So just wanted to reinforce that for my guys really is.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Specifically with Sunrun, you can get by just on the square footage of the house. It's built into the system. If you don't,
Yeah, and
if you don't have it, again, to give them a thumbnail idea of what it's gonna look like ahead of time, to give them reason to go find the electric bill and go on that scavenger hunt.
absolutely. Yep.
All right, but again, that's why we're asking the question the way we do. Where we're asking, what would you say your average electric bill is if you took a 12-month average, knowing in the summertime it may be higher than in the winter? And use their number to create the proposal. And explain to them when you're doing it, hey, I created a thumbnail sketch for you using the numbers that you gave me. All right, putting the onus on them. Hey, you want an accurate, more reliable proposal? Well, you should have sent me the electric bill. But because you didn't, I can only work with what I have. Make sense, everybody?
Yep.
Anybody have any questions? What I talked about was callbacks.
Callbacks.
All right, now, a lot of agents approach this from a completely different way of thinking. There again, it's right. There's nothing you're gonna be able to say on the next call that you didn't say on this call. If you followed the script correctly. All right, that's number one. Number two, don't be afraid to lose the deal because they're rushing you off the call. It's not yours to lose until you actually have the deal. And if you think about it rationally, if they were so goddamn busy, why did they pick up the phone to begin with? They only became busy when they found out you were a telemarketer. Again, they didn't wake up and say, holy shit, I hope David calls me today because I'm really thinking about solar. That didn't happen. Again, they only became busy when they found out you were a telemarketer. Right? Now, the third reason why you don't want to do callbacks is because at some point it's going to become unmanageable. It's going to hit a capitulation point. Let's say the first day dialing, you had 5 callbacks. So that means the second day dialing, you have to do those 5 callbacks. And chances are none of them are going to answer. Now, the second day, you're going to have 5 more callbacks. So on day 3, you now have 10 callbacks. You call them back, waste your time. Don't get anybody on the call. But you also picked up another 5 callbacks. So now on day 4, you have 15 callbacks. At some point, when does it become unmanageable? Don't do callbacks just to go along to get along. Learn to stand them up. All due respect, this is something you're interested in. Great. What type of home do you live in? It's single family residence, townhouse, condo, mobile home, whatever. And go back to where you left off. All right. Don't do callbacks just for the sake of calling them back. Stand them up, put them on the spot. If they're interested, they'll let you know they're interested and continue. Again, if they were so busy, they wouldn't have taken the call to begin with. Right. Earlier, we talked about rebuttals being the tools of your trade. Just like if you were a butcher, you would have to know what knife to use. If you were a carpenter, you'd have to know how to use a saw and a level and a hammer. If you were a hairstylist, you'd have to know what scissors or clippers to use, etc.
this is the same thing. Now, I built in rebuttals where they're going to come up in the script. All right, again, those are in purple for you. But there's other rebuttals, and I could write an entire book of just rebuttals. All right, but I'm going to give you the most common ones to use. But they're basically all built in and should be delivered based off of this acronym. And the acronym is LABS. L for listen, A for acknowledge, B for bridge, and S for spin. So the good Lord above, he gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And the reason being is he wanted you to listen twice as much as he wanted you to speak. At least that's what my dad tells me. Anyway, you got to listen to the customer. If the customer is speaking, you must listen. You have to acknowledge what they're saying by repeating what their question, comment, or concern was back to them. Bridge. It's what you're saying to get to the rebuttal. And then spin, the rebuttal you use to get you back on track and into the script. All right. I'll give you an analogy or an example. If you ever watched a reporter interview a politician, when was the last time you heard a politician answer the reporter's question directly? The answer is never. They'll acknowledge the question and then they'll bridge it until they think about what it is that they want to talk about. Going along to get along to then spin it into what they want to talk about. Why is the sky blue? Well, why is the sky blue? The sky is blue because, and then they start talking about what they're going to do to get your vote. Has nothing to do with the question that was asked. All right. So here's an example. I understand your concern about the price, but that's exactly why we're calling. We want to help you lower your payment. All right. Now, there's 2 scenarios in this script. One is if they ask a question before you find out that they do own the home, not rent it, that they do live in a single family residence, not a mobile home or townhouse or condo, and that their utility bill is at least $100 or more on average. All right. If they ask a question before you know the answer to those 3 questions, this is the rebuttal you're going to use. I understand your concern about XYZ, and I'll gladly answer it, just so I don't waste your valuable time. Let me ask you 3 quick questions so I know you qualify. Do you own the property or do you rent it? You own it. Okay, what type of home do you live in? Is it a single family residence, townhouse, condo, mobile home, manufactured home? What type of home do you have? Single family. Okay, great. What is your average monthly electric bill if you took a 12-month average, knowing in the summertime maybe higher than the winter? About $185. Okay. And then go back to where you left off in the script. All right. The second scenario is if you already know the answer to those three questions and they ask you a question while you're in the middle of section 2 or section 3, answer their questions. But here's a list of those rebuttals. So any questions relating to the solar install, the process, the cost, the price, the warranty, or anything specific, respond with the following. Hey, I understand you're concerned about the roof. And I'm glad you brought that up. I honestly don't want to give you any wrong information, which is exactly why we want to meet with you and provide you with the proposal. It'll explain all the options available, as well as the pros and cons of each option, and answer any and all questions that you have. That way, you can make an intelligent choice as whether solar is right for you and your family or not. Fair enough? Great. When would you like to meet? Would tomorrow or the next day work for you? Tomorrow or Tuesday? Tomorrow, great. Morning or afternoon? Morning, perfect. 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. That's it. All right. And go for get the meeting scheduled and fill in the rest of the information. All right. Now, if you're speaking to somebody for more than 5 minutes, they're speaking to you for a reason. You just haven't sold them yet. All right. Either they don't believe in your credibility, or you're coming up as not confident, or you didn't touch all their buttons, whatever it is. This is what you're going to say. With all due respect, Mrs. Jones, or whatever the last name is, I've now spoke to you for 6 minutes. I'm a little confused. What exactly is holding you back? Don't say another word. Let them answer. And then whatever it is they say, I'm honestly not trying to sell you solar. I'm just trying to introduce you to the idea, and I would not expect you to make a decision without having all the information to make an intelligent choice. All we want to do is be able to make a presentation with you and explain all the options available to you so you can choose whether solar is right for you and your family or not. Is that fair? Great. Would tomorrow or Wednesday work for you? Morning or afternoon? Whatever hour, right? Now, if you get to section 2 or beyond, learn how to stand them up, as I said earlier. Let me ask you, what exactly is the worst thing that can happen? Bottom line, you're going to spend a few minutes of your time with me, gain some knowledge. That's it. How bad could that be? I'm going to be able to discuss all the options available to you, explain the pros and cons of each option, and provide you with all the information you're going to need to make an intelligent choice to decide if solar is right for you and your family or not. Is that fair? It is? Great. Would tomorrow or Wednesday work best for you? All right. Now, with any of these rebuttals, you have to say it confidently. Hopefully, you're out of your chair when you get to this point. So you're standing up. You sound energetic. You're standing up. You sound more confident than if you're sitting down. All right. It comes through the phone that your voice is more confident, more energetic. Wants to do research. And depending on who you talk to and what your rapport with is, you may do it nicely with all due respect, or you may just say, hey, jackass, what type of research can you possibly do? No one has provided you a proposal yet. Therefore, you don't have any information to go on, nor can you get that information without having the information provided so you can make an intelligent choice. I'm sure that makes sense, right? Great. Well, tomorrow or Wednesday be best for you. I got other solar quotes. Great. So you're obviously interested. So you know there are many options available, not to mention pricing. It's just like buying a car. You want to see who's giving you the best deal and the most bang for your buck. I'm sure that makes sense, right? So the object of all of these rebuttals is to turn a negative into a positive and use what they're saying, their question, comment, or concern, and spin it and create leverage for yourself. Because many times they're just asking you something off the wall until they think of something more intelligent to say to you. Or they're just testing you. Does this guy sound like a professional? Is he sharp as a tack? Does he know what he's talking about? Is this someone I want to buy from? Why do you need to know my income? Hey, buddy, look, we're not the IRS, nor are we going to report you to the IRS. We're just looking for a ballpark figure. Some of these programs are based off your taxable income, and we want to make sure you're going to be eligible for the programs and not waste your valuable time. Does that make sense? Great. What's your combined household taxable income? Ballpark. All right. If they keep on insisting, hey, we're just not the IRS, dude. Nor will we report you to the IRS. Ballpark figure, what's your taxable income? Again, if you sound like you're scared, they're going to take advantage of you. But if you sound over the top and confident and believe your own BS, chances are they're going to go along with you. All right, spouse not attending the appointment. I'm not going to go through all of these right now, but they're attached to the script and you need to know them. So spend some time and learn them. All right. They are the tools of your trade.
Okay, so the last thing I want to do is talk about filling out the web form. Now, some of you are going to get in trouble because you're going to forget to open up the web form before you hang up the call. And if you do that, you're going to have to call the customer back, open up the web form as it's dialing, and then hang up real quick. And we don't want that to happen. Again, it ruins our credibility. So if you get to section 2 in the script and you're standing up, make sure to open the web form at the same time. Worst thing that's going to happen, you don't use the web form. Close it out if you're not going to use it and go on to the next call. All right. But you have to open up the web form before you hang up the call. So get in the habit of opening it up when you get to section 2. As I showed you in the previous video, you're going to hit web form, not web form 2, web form. And that's going to get you to this. Now your name and your agent ID is going to populate. The phone number that was dialed is going to populate. The lead in the dialer, first name, last name, and address, and email if there is one, is going to populate. The city, zip, state, and county is going to populate. So the lead may say Tom Jones, but you're talking to his wife, Joan. So instead of Tom, take Tom out and put Joan in. And then put Tom as the spouse first name. So wherever you're talking to, that's the primary first name. The spouse is the second name. All right. Make sure you get the right email. All right. Make sure that the address is 100% correct. The average electric bill, put in the 12-month average that they told you. The electric company, you're going to enter it there. The shade, you're gonna use the drop down. Pick whatever it is. The roof type. Composite shingle, tile, clay, concrete, flat, wood shake, metal. Combined household taxable income. Any specific notes you want to have? Anything crazy or funky about the deal? Anything weird? For instance, Mr. Jones has a big oak tree to the right of his front door. He's willing to cut or trim that tree if it made financial sense. Mr. Jones is hard of hearing. Please speak up and be patient. Mr. Jones will have his son Michael there. Michael will help with the financial decisions. All right. And then the appointment day and time. For the date, you're going to use the calendar, hit the calendar icon, pick the correct date. And then for the time, you're going to pick the correct time. Use their time zone. All right, so if you know it's in California, 12 p.m. California time. Make sure you put that in the notes, right? It's something you're going to want to remember. All right. And then you're going to hit submit once all the filters are filled out. All right, hit submit, and that'll show up in the CRM. All right. In the CRM, you're going to be able to see each and every deal that's in your CRM. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. Let's do this as an example. This is what you're going to see, right? So whatever the agent is going to be populated here. The recording is going to be there so you can review the recordings. Number one, each call is recorded. All right. And it's there for a couple of reasons. One, so you can review it and remind yourself of who said what, when, and why. Right. So if you forget something, you can go back to the recording and get the correct information. All right. The second reason is if something happens in the future, we can go back to the recordings to see who said what, when, and why. And it's not your word versus theirs. It's there on the recording. All right. If you hit quick view, you can see it'll take you to Zillow and you'll be able to see the house, what it looks like. All right. You can see the bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet, the address. You scroll down, it'll give you an overview, household type, single family, when it was built. All right, everything you need to know. All right. It'll show you the county. It'll put a timestamp, date that you called, the time that was, customer's first name, their last name, their spouse's name. Again, you want to get the spouse's name. All right. To put on the lead when you enter it into the portal. All right. First, primary phone number, secondary phone number, email address, city, state, zip code, their average utility bill, their electric company, shade, if any, type of roof, what their combined household income is, and any notes that you thought that would help you out. All right. When the appointment time and date is, and again, the closer's name and ID number. All right. So you guys are going to have access to this. When you get your agent IDs, you'll also get the CRM link and your logins for your CRM. All right, some of you may not have access to it, but your manager will. All right, so that's pretty much what the web form looks like, and that's the result of the web form once you fill it out. All right, guys. So let me know if you have any questions, you have comments, concerns. I'm here to help you guys. Please reach out. In the meantime, you're welcome to take a break. And then when you get back, log in, take some calls, and get the marbles out of your mouth, and let me know if you need help. Thank you, everybody.